Hi, we're making trees today. Hopefully, a lot of trees. Because, yeah, why not? We also only have 2 days to, actually finish as many trees as we can. So, let's, get started on that. Alright, I think we're gonna start right about here. I think this should be a good spot to start our mangrove trees. I'm hoping we can get done with all the black mangroves, if we're lucky. I'm thinking that we can probably pull that off, but just maybe we're we're gonna run out of time. We'll see, I guess. There will be a couple of red mangroves mixed in, I guess. We do want to add a little bit of variety to the build. We don't want it all to be the same type of tree. And I don't really know about the white mangroves. I've talked about those a couple times. I don't really know what to do with the white mangroves just yet. But we'll probably figure something out if we end up getting there in time. But yeah, I only have 2 days to build all the trees, and that's not because of like any real formal deadline, but basically just because it's the holiday season and I don't have too much free time to be building trees in right now. So we only have 2 days, and I think that's kind of a neat challenge. Just kind of see how many trees we can do in a short period of time. I guess if you don't know, my process is basically that I make all these trees custom by hand on the fly. I don't really like make any creative plans beforehand, and I don't just build the same tree over and over again and like rotate it so it looks like it's varied. These are all completely unique trees that I just kind of make on the fly, and that's kind of the process I like. It's kind of the most creative, I think, because you're making so many different versions of the same tree. It's a little repetitive, maybe for some, and I totally get that it's not time efficient at all. But it's just what I like to do, and I think it looks really cool when you finish it. So that's what we're doing here. So to go a little bit more in detail about my process for building mangrove trees, I guess, it's not too complicated. Mangrove trees are actually probably one of the easier tree types to build. I definitely, if you're around last season, you might remember my pine trees. Those were definitely the hardest I found to build, but these are really easy. Basically, you don't have to keep in mind much. I'm really just thinking about what kind of size of tree I want in different places. There's different like parts of the tree that I know how to replicate. So like I know how to do the roots or the branch shapes, and basically you just kind of put those together and it ends up working out most of the time. But mangrove trees are like especially easy because a lot of the branch shapes will work even when in like other trees they normally wouldn't. So like for instance in an oak tree there's only a few branch shapes that really work, but for mangrove trees you can kind of get away with a lot of stuff that I guess just really normally wouldn't work. It just kind of makes my life a little bit easier, I think. So I think other than size, the only things that I'm trying to keep in mind is a little bit of like consistency in the style of like leaves and stuff. I don't want things to look too different from a distance, but that's usually not too hard. Things usually kind of blend together, so it doesn't matter too much. And the dome shape of the trees, I want the black mangroves to kind of have a slight dome shape. Of course, it still needs to be natural and messy and everything, but like kind of dome shaped. And I think that if you kind of keep those things in mind, the size and the dome and that kind of thing, I think it kind of all falls together pretty easily. Well, I think we're gonna have to go here for today. We didn't get as many done as I wanted to do. We had a few things to do in real life, so I didn't have as much time as I wanted to just work on trees today. But we got 9 done, which is actually quite a few. and I think this makes this whole area look a lot nicer, although it's not done. There's actually a few things I want to add. Of course, details, but also these little like saplings we can sprinkle in here and there in these areas to kind of offer a little bit of a transition and different things. But yeah, I think there's a good number of big trees here, and there's a good number of big trees left to do. We'll have to kind of pick up the pace a little bit tomorrow for sure, but I think we can get quite a few done, so let's go ahead and try to do that. Alright, day 2. We have more trees to build. I wanted to start, I think, with the little ones. I think I have everything, still in my inventory. So we're gonna go over back this way and do some of the little ones first, and then we'll move on to the more big one over in this direction. I think I want the first little one to be like right in here somewhere. The little saplings are usually pretty easy. They're pretty much the same thing as the big trees, just scaled down a lot, so you don't really have much detail you're putting in all the branches and stuff. They're a little bit harder, mostly just in the details. The like new metaphors that I usually put on the black mangroves don't really translate well to the scale. So they kind of like look weird, especially once there's leaves on it. But it kind of works together pretty well, so I think it still looks like a black mangrove. It still looks like a good tree and everything, so that's what we're doing here. You kind of just put the leaves on the fence post and it kind of looks like a tree. I don't know. There's not really much of a technique or anything to keep in mind here. Other than that, you kind of want it to still be the same shape as always. You don't want it to look too abnormal. So you just kind of try and error things until they kind of work out. It is about lunchtime, so I figured I'd give a little bit of a status update. We've been making a lot of trees today. I've already done about 8 or so we're definitely making more progress than yesterday. And I'm liking the look of it quite a bit. I did, like I said, I think around 8, not including the little ones, so there's probably a few more in there, but yeah, we're pretty much just down to this last hill, which is where I wanted to do the white mangroves, which I haven't really decided what to do with those yet. Of course, there are going to be other kinds of mangroves in this area, so we can do all the different black mangroves and things. But yeah, we'll get to that after lunch. I gotta eat something real quick. Alright, we're back from lunch, and like I said before, we're going to be working on this kind of last hill. I think we're going to mostly be sticking towards the lower parts of it for now, because the white mangroves will be going up here somewhere if I end up building them. But yeah, we'll be just sticking around the like kind of riverbed muddy bits that are around here. I think we should be able to kind of just get a bunch more streets done here. We might actually end up finishing today, which would be really cool, at least with the black mangroves. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get started. I think we're gonna start like right here. So working on this last stretch here, I've kind of realized I'm not really innovating that much. I'm kind of falling into a pattern. I've refined the process down to where I know if I do this certain thing, it's going to make a good looking tree. And that's mostly fine because realistically, nobody's going to be looking too closely at these trees. You're especially not going to be like going up underneath and like into them and like trying to look at all the branches to see what kind of pattern I used or whatever. But yeah, it's it's kind of weird still. I want the trees to be unique. So I think what I'm going to do is like try to mix in certain elements that I haven't tried before, and like kind of really consciously think about that. It kind of naturally happens while you're like first making the trees. The first few times, you're not going to remember the exact process you used, so you're going to try, just by chance, a bunch of new things out with your first few trees of a type. But like by your, 20th tree, you're kind of getting to the point to where everything is kind of more or less the same, and you gotta like consciously bring yourself out of that pattern. So that's kind of a unique thing that I've kind of uncovered while I'm working on these trees, I guess. But I think it's not really too big of an issue. The trees look good, and like I said, nobody's really going to be like paying it too close attention to these trees. They're not even like close to a path or anything. Like, I'm not too worried about it really, but just an interesting thing I thought I'd mention. Well, I think it's about time to make a decision on whether or not we're doing the white mangroves. Pretty much, there's just this hill left, so if we're doing them, this is the place, right? And I think I've come to a decision. I've thought about it a little bit, and I think I'm starting to form an idea. So I think we're gonna do it. I think we're going to do it pretty soon, though maybe not right now. And the reason why is because we're kind of out of time. I only have like a couple hours before I probably need to go to sleep, so we're probably gonna end our 2 days here. But I'm pretty happy with the progress we made. If we like go through and like wade through these rivers and stuff, I mean, you get like just this really cool feeling, like just wading through here. I mean, it just looks really cool. You got all the new metaphors. It's kind of hard to like traverse through all this area because of all the trees and stuff. It feels like a swamp, and I really like I really like that. That's what I wanted it to feel like. But yeah, we did everything. We even did all the little like tiny black mangrove trees, which we have some on both sides of this river, which is kind of like our border into the area that's not our area anymore. And I think we made really good progress today. I mean, this is a lot of trees. I did a kind of count, though I don't know exactly how accurate it is, to kind of give us our final number. 37, roughly. I mean, give or take a couple, but 37 trees in 2 days. Each tree takes about like, I don't know exactly how long to do, but a while. So we've been busy. And like I said, I'm really happy to get all this done. And to maybe start working on the white mangroves soon, but I don't really know exactly how soon. Next week, there's Christmas, of course. And I think me and Expelfer have something special planned for that, but we'll have to see exactly how that pans out. I might not even upload anything next week because of Christmas. We'll see. But either way, we're ending this episode here. So I guess thank you guys all for watching. God bless.